Hey, so you're thinking about moving to Las Vegas here in Nevada, and maybe you still have some questions that haven't been answered yet, and you're wondering, where can I find out the answer to these questions? Well, today I'm going to go through 15 of the most popular questions that I get asked all the time by those who are reaching out to me and considering moving to the Las Vegas area. And hopefully at the end of this video, those questions will be answered. But if not, pop those down in the comments below or reach out to me and I'll be able to answer those for you. But hey, we're going to start right now. So today we're talking about moving to Las Vegas and living in Las Vegas. And as I said there, I get calls and texts all the time from you guys, and I super appreciate it. I love every single interaction that I have with you guys. Also though, we have a lot of questions that you guys have, and I'm always trying my best to answer those questions, and I'm hoping by putting this video out that it'll answer quite a lot of the questions that you have. But also, if you do want to reach out to me, I'm going to put my details on the screen. Pause it, have it written down, and then when you're ready, then please do reach out, and I'd love to answer any other questions that you have, or also make the whole move to Las Vegas a lot easier and a lot stress-free for you. So one of the first questions I get asked quite a lot are there any bugs? Now, the climate that we live in, it's a desert climate. We have dry heat, we don't have humidity, so we don't have a lot of the bugs that are in those environments, but it's still a desert, so we still have a lot of spiders. We still have scorpions as well, and although I haven't seen one scorpion in my whole 3 years here, I certainly have known people who have had scorpions in the garage, in their garden. I know of a friend who was asleep on the couch and a scorpion crawled down and stung him. It was only a bark scorpion, so it wasn't too bad. It was like he described it as being a bit more than a bee sting, and it certainly woke him up. But there's some of the bugs that you're going to have. If you're living also in a complex that is like a condo or an apartment complex and your neighbors are not clean, you might suffer from cockroaches as well, because they're going to be around and they are very hard to get rid of, definitely very hard to kill. I remember I saw one when I was on a vacation somewhere, and I tried to wash it down the sink in the shower, and it just came straight back up. I was like, what? This thing is just immovable. So you might get some cockroaches as well. Other than that though, there's not really any major other creepy crawlers. We have obviously grasshoppers as well. We have crickets, nothing that's going to really bother you. The one that freaks people out the most is probably the scorpions, and sometimes they're not aware that there are scorpions. If you're living closer to the mountains, then you're probably going to have them more than you would probably closer in the metro areas, so just bear that in mind. But scorpions and spiders are going to be your two biggest bugs that you're going to really have to deal with here. You might have the other odd little bug, but the most common ones it's a desert as well, isn't it, that we're living in, are going to be spiders and spiders and scorpions, sorry. But if you can live with that and that's not going to bother you, then you'll be totally okay. If that's going to creep you out, then just be aware. You can have pest control come and spray the perimeter of your property, which certainly helps. We have them come every quarter, and it definitely helps us keep on top of things as well. So again, pest control will probably be your best friend if you're not a friend of scorpions and spiders. Number 2 is, how hot are the summers? This is a question I probably should have answered myself when I first moved over here, moving from the UK. But the summers are, they do get really hot. We get into way above triple digits in some of the summers as well, and depending on where you are. Obviously, if you're in areas like Summerlin that have higher elevation, it might not hit the 115 plus, but it's definitely going to be triple digits the whole of July, August. Even in the evening when the sun has gone down, it's still going to be above triple digits. Again though, at least it's not humid, so you're not going to be feeling sticky, and you're not going to be feeling all that sweat and all that moisture. It's definitely a lot better. With the dry heat though, obviously then you don't feel that you are sweating, and you probably don't feel that you need to stay hydrated, and that was a mistake I made in my first summer, is I wasn't keeping hydrated, and I ended up with kidney stones for not drinking a lot of water. So that was the worst pain ever. I've broken legs playing soccer, and the pain that I had with kidney stones it scared me. I thought something was going to burst in the whole of my left hand side. I thought something was seriously wrong. Little did I know it was a tiny kidney stone. Although the nurse tells me it's very painful and I didn't feel too bad, definitely scared me enough to keep drinking water in the summer especially. Obviously all year round it's beneficial to drink water, but certainly in the summer, because you're not going to feel it. Obviously everywhere has AC as well, so in your car, in your house, most businesses are going to have AC, so you're not going to feel it when you're indoors. And you're not going to really want to do too much outdoors in the summer as well. You might have the odd cloudy day where it's going to be nice to go out and maybe go to the parks, the water park, things like that. Other than that though, you're not going to really want to do too much outside in the heat and the hot of the summer, but then there's plenty more to do as well around the area. So how hot can the summers get? They get very hot. They get 115 plus. They still stay above 100 in the evenings. You're going to wake up maybe in the middle of the night and have a sweat silhouette on your bed sometimes if your AC isn't at the right temperature. But if you can handle that, and a lot of people, the reason they're moving here is for the heat, then you'll be grand. You'll have no problem at all. The next question that sort of follows on from that is, how cold do the winters get? The winters can get surprisingly cold, certainly around the low 30s, I'd say, is probably sometimes the coldest. We sometimes get a bit of snow as well. January seems to be the coldest month, so it does get quite cold, and it sort of catches people out that it does get quite cold. Also as well, we get a lot of wind. We're in a valley, so the wind just gets pushed straight through the mountains, and you do get quite a lot of wind. Sometimes you'll look out your door, and if it's trash day, you'll just see loads of trash, not the trash, sorry, the trash cans just blowing down the street. And sometimes when you're driving, you'll see some debris on the roads as well from the wind, and they really do get quite strong. It's surprising sometimes how strong they get, but then again, as I said, is it really surprising when we're in a valley and the winds get pushed through the mountains? I know sometimes when I've flown into Vegas and we're coming over the mountains, you certainly feel the wind. Sometimes you hit that bit of turbulence coming over the mountains. It's definitely going to be there with the winds, and with the cold as well. It's going to be quite chilly in the winter. We don't really have 4 seasons. It goes from really hot in the summer, couple of weeks of really nice temperature for fall, and then it's like winter. It's like it feels like, the stats might say different, but I'm only going to talk about feelings, and it feels to me like it's a real quick slip off from the hot to the cold. There's no in between to adjust, and same from going from the cold to the hot, then missing out spring. It certainly feels like it's a quick adjustment. My kids certainly suffer sometimes. They certainly, when the seasons change so quickly with the temperatures, sometimes they have a little bit of irritation on their skin, and certainly get a bit bunged up with colds. And it's just for the quick change in temperatures. So it does get quite cold. Equally it gets quite hot in the summer. It does get quite cold as well in the winter. And we do have a monsoon sort of rain season in the summertime as well, around July, August, and we get quite a lot of rain then as well, which surprises people. We don't get a lot of rain throughout the year, but in the monsoon season we do. But Vegas have built all these tunnels, and the water just washes straight through, so sometimes it can be quite bad, but it's never really, that I've seen, it's never really damaged any property or anything like that. Maybe some of the casinos might have got a little bit of damage, but Vegas have built all these tunnels, and then that sort of gets the water out pretty quickly. But just be aware of that as well. Sometimes there'll be quite a lot of surface water on the roads, and I've certainly seen junctions where you can't actually drive through the intersection because the water is so high. So summers get quite hot, winters get quite cold, and in between that we have a lot of wind and a monsoon season, and with that you should be prepared for every weather eventuality and a bit of snow in Vegas. The next question I get asked a lot, and obviously as a parent, and those parents that are watching these videos as well probably relate to me because I'm a parent, and one of the questions I get asked a lot is, how are the schools? We've all read the headlines, I'm sure, when we're doing this research and checking out areas, and the Clark County School District, which covers the whole of the greater Vegas, Henderson, Boulder City area, that school district, the CCSD, often is rated as one of the worst, 49 out of 50 across the whole of the US, and obviously as a parent it's like alarm bells, red flags, let's cancel the move, let's go somewhere else. But then when you do a deep dive, some of the schools are really good. You just need to be really, really diligent and really put in the time and the effort and really research the schools. Some of the schools you'll see are located within Summerlin. Some of the good schools are located in Henderson, and that sort of gives you a rough idea. But depending on where you're going to be, where you want to be located, and what, I always talk about the area being the most important when choosing where to live in Vegas. Certainly you're going to want to make sure, if you're moving with kids, you're going to want to make sure that you're in a good school area. If that's something you want to have more information on, and you're a parent and you want to, really deep dive and make sure that you move into an area that has good schools, an area of Las Vegas, then I'll put my details below here. You can give me a call on my cell, you can text me, or you can email me, and I'll pull up the Zoom on my share screen, and we can go through it together, and I can show you how I came to my decision on the schools, and we can help you find the area that works for you with schools as well, because I know as a parent it was the super important thing for me. So the question of how are the schools, I think the schools are quite good when you actually find the good schools, but overall the Clark County School District does have a bad reputation, and quite a lot of the better, the worst schools do bring the overall ratings down. But there definitely are some good eggs, so you just have to find them. Is the question, the answer to the question there. The next question I get asked a lot is, how is the job market? The job market here is as stable as can be. Obviously, a lot of our jobs are in the service industry, with all the casinos, all the restaurants, and we rely heavily as a city on tourism. And when there was no tourism, then I know a lot of people unfortunately lost their jobs in those industries, and it caused a lot of issues. So the majority of our jobs are still within that industry, and that will always be the way, because we are the entertainment capital of the world. And even though prices are increasing for everything, including the hotel stays, including the meals out, including the shows, including the drinks and partying, everything is going up in price as it is across the country. It's still not putting people off. People are still going to come to Vegas. It's like families will still go and visit Disney World no matter how much they moan about the prices, and same for Vegas. People are still going to visit no matter how high the prices go, and that's going to mean our market tends to stay pretty stable as a job market. So if you work in those industries, you have a good chance to get a job. You have a good chance to earn quite a bit of money as well, because we get quite a bit of tips. I know some people make a lot of money working in some of the restaurants on the Strip, and a lot of the money on tips that they make is incredible and well deserved as well, because they work really, really hard. So if that's the industry you're going to be moving in, you're going to have no problem. There's also a lot of businesses that have moved to the Vegas area. We have quite a lot of Amazon warehouses and fulfillment centers. So I know a lot of people work within the Amazon warehouses, and they pay quite well and give quite good benefits. There's definitely quite a lot of construction going on up in North Las Vegas, and we have some of the other big brands as well. There's a big Sephora warehouse that's up there as well. And then all around, depending on what industry that you're moving to, we are a major city, so you are going to be able to find jobs here. It just depends what your expertise is in, but they're the areas that are definitely going to be easy. But other than that, a lot of people are also able to work remotely now as well in their positions, and if you can move and work remotely, then definitely you're going to have no problem. You're going to be set up there easily. So the answer to the question is all depending on what industry you're moving in and what you're looking for in terms of work. Some areas could be a little bit more restricted. It just depends on what you're looking for. But if you're a teacher and if you're a nurse and you can contribute to those communities, I'd say definitely move here, because we need all of the good school teachers and good people in the medical profession to definitely help out here. The next question I get asked a lot is it safe? And again, this was one of my concerns moving over here. I saw, obviously, and I'd been to Vegas before, and it has that reputation as Sin City and a party city. But actually, there are some real safe areas. You just need to find them. Henderson, which is a separate city to Las Vegas, but it is really obviously close. It's connected to Las Vegas, and from parts of Henderson, you can get to the Strip within 15 minutes. Henderson is often rated as the second or third safest largest city in the whole of the US. Now, obviously, they have their own police department and their own governance, so they are separate to the city of Las Vegas. So it's easier to pull the stats on Henderson as a whole. But when you actually go and deep dive the information, there's definitely some safe areas within Las Vegas as well. Summerlin is going to be relatively safe. There's going to be areas around the southwest of Las Vegas that are going to be relatively safe as well. Obviously, a lot of the crime happens in a concentrated area around the Strip and downtown area, but that's no surprise, because that's where all the tourists go. That's where there's lots of alcohol. That's where there's lots of other things going on, and that's where a lot of the crime is. So the crime stats as a whole are going to be quite high for the city of Las Vegas. But if you look at where it's dotted around and the types of crime, then definitely that will give you a good indicator. Now, there's obviously lots of DUIs that are, in Vegas, and I think it's criminal how many DUIs there are, and it's such a shame that there's still nothing that seems to be going on to prevent the DUIs. There's way too many people driving under the influence that haven't caused accidents, and obviously there's ones that have caused the accidents, and if there's something more that the police departments can do to stop that, that would be fantastic, because it's always a worry when we're on the road, is sometimes, especially in the evenings, you never know, as safe as you are as a driver, someone who's driving under the influence can, wipe you out in an instant. And I read about it way too many times of crashes and everything, and it's always mostly driving under the influence is the cause. So I think that's going to, be a figure that's going to be quite high for Vegas compared to some other areas. But as I said, there's still relatively safe pockets. It just depends where you're moving to. And again, if you want to deep dive on that sort of information and help find an area that's going to work for you. Again, I'll put my details below. You can reach out to me at any time, and I'd love to help you and love to take some of the stress away from you and just get to know you and help you on your move and see the best that we can do for you. So do reach out. The next question I get asked, and I get asked this a lot as a real estate agent, but I get asked it a lot obviously from those of you who are reaching out to me and moving from other states, and you want to know what it's like here, is how's the housing market? And right now in June 2023, our housing market is heating back up again, and it has heated back up again. Obviously the interest rates are still quite high. They haven't come down to the historical lows, and they're not going to come down to the historical lows that we had during COVID time to help stimulate the market. But at the end of the day, a lot of people now have kind of figured out that you can't really base it all on the interest rates, and you can always change those rates if need be. But in the times when the interest rates were so low, it was really hard as a buyer to find a home, put an offer in, and then find out there's already 15 offers in, and the one who's got the property has paid X amount over appraised value and already walking into negative equity and paid more than the house is worth just because of how the market was, because the interest rates were so low. It's certainly a lot more pleasurable now, and if you can look past the interest rates, there's definitely still some good bargains to have. We're definitely in a position where the sellers are still more open to a negotiation on the list price. They're more open to contributing towards closing costs or buying your rate down. So the market is hot. There's definitely a lot more sales going on now than there were a few months ago, but also there's still chances to get something within reason, within a good negotiation. And if you've got someone on your side who's really good at negotiating, then you should be able to get a win for everybody, a win for you and a win for the other side as well. So to answer that question, and the housing market always fluctuates, so this is as of today, but this can change in a heartbeat. But at the moment it's showing signs of steadily increasing, and the summer is always the hottest time, not just with the weather but also with the property market. As we get closer to the fall and winter season, it gets a bit slower, but then there'll be less inventory because less people are moving. But the prices are probably going to be a little bit lower as well. But I reckon, if I was to answer that question as of today, I'd say the market is getting hotter, but there's still chances there and opportunities there to get a good price property and get a good deal for yourself as well at the same time. So just look past the interest rates, and as I said, if you can find a property that works for you, then don't sleep on it, make a move and pull the plug and go for it. Another question I get asked a lot, and looking at my analytics, I get quite a lot of 55 plus also watching, ages 55 plus watching my videos, and I absolutely appreciate you guys. I hope when I'm that age I'm still going to be tech savvy and be able to keep up with the latest trends, but fair play to you guys. And some of the best conversations I have are with you guys as well. But I get asked all the time about retirement communities, and if there's any retirement communities in Vegas and Henderson, or places that would be good for those who are of retirement age, somewhere peaceful, quiet, safe, but still close to the action and being able to still have a social life. And we definitely have quite a few active 55 plus communities, whether they're in Henderson, Summerlin, we have some in Cadence as well, some in McDonald Highlands. So it just depends on where you want to be situated, but we have some fantastic. Sun City is a great 55 plus community, and they're amongst the best in the country in my opinion for the amenities that they offer. Quite often they have a gorgeous golf course, they have really good clubhouses, really good social events that go on. So Sun City, and there's a few of them dotted around as well, that will be a really good starting place if you're looking at a 55 plus community. We also have some in North Las Vegas, Aliante and Las Pradas as well. Some really great retirement communities up there that are going to be fantastic, as well as Lake Las Vegas, which again is in Henderson, towards the east of Henderson. Quiet, peaceful, again 55 plus community or not, you have the option of either. So again, I'd say just reach out. I'd put my details again on the screen. Just reach out and let's have that conversation one-on-one, and we can talk about what you're looking for in a community, and then we'll try and get you to tour the community, whether it's with me virtually or with you here in person, and you can see, does it work for you? But the answer to that question is yes, there is, and yes, there's some fabulous retirement communities here. I reckon some of our retirement communities probably are better than some of the ones in Florida, which I know has a huge retirement community population that migrate down there. So I definitely think it's a great option. I've done a few videos on retirement communities in Las Vegas as well, so I'll pop those down in the description below and you can check those out, and hopefully that will help you with answering that question a little bit more detail. Another question I get asked a lot is, what's the healthcare like? And the healthcare in Vegas gets a real big bashing. I see it all the time in some of the Facebook groups that I'm in. It gets a really big bashing, and there's some reasons why the ratings are not great for healthcare here. I think some of the access to the healthcare providers is limited. I don't think there's enough healthcare providers. I don't think there's enough good healthcare providers, and some of the good ones are quite busy. So I can see some of the reasons why the ratings can be a bit low. I definitely think for Nevada as a whole, quite a lot of Nevada, apart from the bigger built-up areas, quite a lot of it is rural. So then definitely access in general in Nevada is going to be an issue. If you've got a major specialist that you need to go and see and you're outside of the Vegas area, getting back in is going to be obviously not easy and not convenient. And even within Las Vegas and Henderson, sometimes the access to the really good ones, it's this difficult. We had a difficult situation with our previous pediatrician as well, and he was advising us to give our newborn, 1-day-old newborn who was jaundiced, she was born jaundiced, and he was advising us to give her water to drink, which I'm sure any parent out there will tell you, and certainly my wife was on the ball with it. I was like, no, you do not give a baby water. That's one of the things that they can't drink. And we wanted to take the baby from his care and move to a different primary care pediatrician, and he threatened CPS and everything on us, which was horrible and certainly not what you want to go through when you've just had a newborn baby and emotions are all over the place. But luckily that came to nothing. That said, though, the pediatrician we're in now is fabulous and fantastic, and the reason we found that is because we did research and we took the time to really research the providers and find we didn't mind where we traveled within the greater Vegas area. We just wanted to be within one that we could trust. Luckily, it was within Henderson, and same for the dentist. We actually traveled to the west near Summerlin for our dentist for the kids, and again, I can't say anything bad about those. My own primary care physician is really, really good. She's amazing. She doesn't rush. She takes the time to listen to me. We had a yearly checkup not long ago, and rather than giving me medication to keep my stats in a good range, she told me some of the things I can do that are practical rather than maintenance medicine, so I appreciated that. My wife loves her primary care physician, and she's got a great relationship there. So you just have to do the research and find the good ones. Okay, another question I get asked a lot is it walkable? Is Vegas walkable? And the short answer to that is not really. Vegas is really a city that's built for people commuting by car, if I'm being honest. Even the public transport here sucks. You could often have to get 2 or 3 buses to get to where you need to go. That could only be a 20-minute drive in a car. So it's really a city that's built for having a car. And if you have a car, it's going to be so easy to get around. Congestion isn't really an issue. You just have to have your wits about you when you're at traffic junctions and intersections, and making sure when the filter light goes to tell you to turn left, maybe give it a couple of seconds, because some of these drivers here don't pay attention to the stop sign and always want to beat the light just to get stuck at the next light 5 minutes down the road and not really make any progress with their journey. But yeah, that's just my little rant on Vegas drivers. I don't think I've ever driven so defensive as I have here in Vegas. So definitely have your wits about you at intersections and light changes. But in terms of walkability, you're not going to be really having too many communities where you can walk to grocery stores or maybe walk to the park, unless you're going to be living in one of the homes close to the park, or close to the commercial areas. Quite often it'll be quite a lengthy walk, but there are going to be walking trails. Most communities have gorgeous walking trails or cycling trails, depending on where you're going to be, and that's a nice way to get out and walk, because I think there's a lot of value in being out walking. I think it really contributes to good heart health. But if you're looking for a walkable city like some downtown areas and some of the other bigger cities where you can go and walk and it's easy to walk to the main attractions, then I don't think that's going to be the same in Vegas. A lot of it is very suburban, which is good for a lot of people as well, but I don't think it is very walkable. The next question I get asked a lot is, where are the best neighborhoods? And I get it, you want to be in the best neighborhood, but it's a loaded question, because the best neighborhood for you is maybe not the best neighborhood for me, and the best way to figure that out is to reach out to me. And again, I'll put my details down below, and you can pause the screen and take a screenshot and then give me a call when you're ready. And the best way to do that is to reach out and get in touch with me, and we can have a conversation, and I can get to know you in terms of what you're looking for and also know your personality, and then I'll be able to pinpoint the exact areas that I think are going to work for you and set you up on a discovery tour. When you visit the area, you can go and drive these neighborhoods, and I can give you some addresses of places of business or parks or homes, and you can drive those neighborhoods. But in terms of the best neighborhoods, it's just going to come down to what you're looking for. It's not really an easy question to answer. A lot of people will say Summerlin or Henderson, and that's where a lot of people start with when they're moving to the area. But then when they actually get here and look at some of the other areas, maybe they move to other areas as well. And always bear in mind, when you're comparing Summerlin to Henderson, you're comparing a huge master planned community to a city. So Henderson also has a different range of different types of communities. So if you're looking at Henderson, then remember there's going to be a great array of different neighborhoods within Henderson as well. And if you're looking at Summerlin, Summerlin is made up of loads of different villages that again have all their own different styles as well, different parks, different home styles. So just bear that in mind, and also be open to the fact that maybe when you come and visit these areas, you might actually fall in love with another area that isn't Summerlin or Henderson, because there's some other great communities as well that offer a lot of value. So again, I know I'm sitting on the fence with that one, but I can't answer generically because it's going to come down to each individual person. For some people, Sky Canyon in North Vegas or Rhodes Ranch down in Southwest Vegas are going to be really good communities that could work for you. Some people, Summerlin absolutely, or Henderson, Anthem, Seven Hills, Inspirada, those areas are going to work for you, but it's going to come down to you and your own individual circumstances. And that's why I'm saying, if you want to answer that question, the best way is to probably reach out to me and you can have it more of a tailor-made answer. The next question I get asked a lot is, how often do you go to the Strip? And I sometimes actually get asked as well, do you live on the Strip? And I'm like, no, I live in a house, and it's, in a nice area that isn't in the middle of Party Central. Some people obviously would love to live on the Strip, and that'll be a great thing for them. And we do have some amazing high-rise condos if that's what you're looking for. But in terms of how often we go to the Strip, with the kids and the family, we don't really go as often as we probably would have done at the start. Sometimes we'll go when the Bellagio gardens are changing, or we'll go through holiday season sometimes because it looks beautiful. Me and my wife tend to go on a date night to the Strip maybe about once every month. I've got a good contact that is really good at getting tickets for shows, so we tend to lean on him sometimes, and he can hook us up with some good tickets, really good value prices, really good seats. But aside from that, wherever you're living, you're going to mostly have a lot of things that you can do within your area, and we have a lot of great options in Henderson, where we often go out for a date night in Henderson, some gorgeous restaurants. No matter what your type of food or budget is, there's definitely a lot in Henderson. There's a lot to do in Summerlin as well, that a lot of people just stay in Summerlin, actually they don't even go to the Strip. So there's a lot going to be probably a lot to do within your communities that are not going to be on the Strip. And I have to say, some of the restaurants off the Strip are probably equal to the quality that are on the Strip, and certainly a fraction of the price. And you can definitely find some good hidden gem restaurants. And if you want a shout out for some of those, then reach out to me and I'll give you some of my ones that I found that I really love, and sometimes we go back again. It's all going to come down to your taste and budgets, but there's so many great dining options. I know I've put on a lot of weight since I moved here just because of how great the restaurants here are. So definitely a lot of entertainment to do that isn't on the Strip, but you are going to go to the Strip. You're not going to not go to the Strip at all. You're just going to pick and choose when you go. You probably won't go when it's weekends or holiday because it's going to be super busy. You'll probably be able to do it during the week and have a quick date night during the week if that's what you're looking for. But in terms of what we do, I'd say once a month. Next question I get asked a lot, and again, this speaks to the parents, and what will my kids be able to do and enjoy in Vegas? Obviously, it's a party city. What are my kids going to do? Well, there's so much for the kids to do, and it was one of my concerns actually as well, but there's so many great things outdoor for the kids to enjoy. And there's great parks, there's great splash pads. Wherever you're living in the area, you're going to have access to some really good parks. Summerlin has a humongous amount of parks for a master planned community. Henderson has some really great outdoor green spaces as well. Some really well kept parks to enjoy, playgrounds, and as I said, splash pads. Definitely great for them to enjoy those. Also, we have two great water parks. We have Cowabunga Bay in Henderson and Cowabunga Canyon, over in the southwest, just near Summerlin and Spring Valley. So, again, in the summer, it's a great way to cool down. We get season passes for the water parks because the kids absolutely love it. Even though they're not able to fully swim yet, they still love it. And this year, a couple of my girls were able to go on some of the bigger slides after being told for the previous few years that they were too small, and they just they could have just stayed going down those 4 slides all day long and not done anything else. But there's a great wave pool, there's a great lazy river, there's a great kids little baby pool as well, where my baby is starting to get a little bit more confident. She's 2 now, starting to get a little bit more confident, but there's a thing where the water just comes down from a bucket really fast, and that always scares her. But other than that, she's getting a bit confident. So it's great to see them just having fun in the water though, and all those memories that are being made. There's lots of indoor play gyms, whether it's Wally Wombat, Uptown Jungle. There's lots of indoor bounce houses to go and enjoy. There's the Discovery Museum, which is fantastic to go and enjoy. There's lots of other great indoor options as well. There's the Henderson Bird Viewing Preserve, which is great to go and do. Our kids love trying to spot the birds because you get a little checklist that you can tick off, and they love competing to see who's going to go and check it out. There's lots of great sports programs, whether that's soccer, whether that's football, baseball, basketball, tennis, lots of great sport options, and there's so many great sports coming to the Vegas area that will inspire the future generations to get into sport, and there's lots of great coaches here as well. So it just depends what you're looking for, but I can tell you there's a mountain of things to enjoy with the kids, and our kids definitely love getting stuck into quite a lot of those things, and your kids aren't going to be bored, that's for sure. The next question I get asked a lot is there a sense of community? And, I think that's one of the things Vegas suffers from, is having that sense of community. There's parts of Vegas that do have a good sense of community. I think Inspirada has a really good sense of community. I think Cadence is getting there as well. I think other parts are probably a little bit more, and I think overall the population in Vegas is very transient. It's very come in and go in, come in and go in, come in and go in, and it's sometimes hard to get to know the people around you. There's lots of people that have been here planted for many years and super happy, and then there's lots of people that come here for a few years and then go somewhere else. And there's no right or wrong, and I think maybe a lot of big cities suffer from the same. So it's not necessarily a knock against Vegas. Certainly where I grew up in the UK, we had a very close-knit community, and it certainly feels different here. But then when I was living in London, it was the same. You didn't really speak to your neighbours, you didn't really know your neighbours. So again, because London was such a huge city, it was maybe not as really, sociable. That sense of community was certainly missing. But, if you are looking for a sense of community, there are certainly parts of Vegas and Henderson that are going to work for you, and it's going to feel like a real great community. So definitely it's an option if that's really important to you, like super important. Peter, I need to be somewhere where there's a sense of community. There are options in the area, but it's not something that I think has the area as a whole. I don't think has a strong sense of community. Now you can build that yourself. You can take it upon yourself to go and get to know your neighbors. I had a client that moved to Silverado Ranch recently, and he went and introduced himself to all the neighbors, and he's starting to build that community for himself there, and that's fantastic to see. So it is doable, but it might take a little bit more work than other areas. And then the final question is, and I get asked this quite a lot as well, and it puts quite a lot of people off, because some people read the headlines and that's where they get their decision making from, and I totally understand it. But this question that I get asked a lot is, are you running out of water? The short answer to that is no. And I'm going to put down the link for where I get my information from, and that's direct from the source, the Southern Nevada Water Authority. And I'm going to put the link down for what they've said on the matter, and they'll go into more deeper detail of some of the things that I'm going to touch on. Lake Mead's levels have definitely dropped. There's no denying that. They've dropped dramatically over the last few years, and it's not just the Vegas area that gets their water or gets water from the Lake Mead and the Colorado River. So it's not just affecting us, but the Southern Nevada Water Authority have definitely put a lot of measures in place to protect our water supply, not just for the near future, but for the coming years. They've certainly put a restriction on there's restrictions on when you can water. You can only water on certain days, so you need to make sure your irrigation is set to the right days. You need to, if you've got grass, you can get rid of the natural turf and get a rebate from the district as well, and that will obviously, because you don't have natural turf, you're not using as much water. New swimming pools can only be a certain length, so if you're looking at building a new swimming pool in Las Vegas, it can't be beyond a certain length as well. Ornamental grass they're trying to get rid of for the same reason as offering the rebate to your grass and your natural turf. They're trying to get rid of the ornamental grass, and I know a lot of golf clubs are moaning about that as well. And then there's so many other things that they've put into place that I could do a whole video just based on the water supply. But as I said, I'm going to pop the link for that down below and click on it, have a read of it. and then make your own decision if you think that we're going to be in trouble water-wise. I definitely don't think we're going to be in any issues. I think the amount of new construction that's going on, I don't think that the developers, commercial and residential, would be investing as much money in the area if our water supply was at a huge risk. And I think, as I said, I think the Water Authority are doing everything they can to try and protect our water supply and make sure that we're looked after for many decades to come. And I can only commend them from the things that I've read that they're doing. I think they're doing a fantastic job in really difficult circumstances. So keep up the hard work, people, and I definitely appreciate it. But I don't think we're going to run out of water. I could be wrong. Again, this is just my opinion. I could be wrong, and you could come back and watch this video in 10 years and be like, oh, this Peter guy, he had no idea. What was he talking about? He was deluded and a glass half full type of person. But I definitely don't think that our water supply is any immediate danger. And that's it, guys. That's some of the questions that I get asked quite often, and I wanted to put that out there and hopefully answer some of the questions that you have and maybe some of the concerns that you have that I've answered. And I try not to deep dive into each question, and if you did want to have that question answered in more detail and you want to bounce it off me and ping pong back and forwards and really deep dive on it and question some of the things that I've said as well, then again, definitely reach out to me. My details are down below. I only ever speak from my own opinion. I don't just go and Google and give you a load of facts. I only ever speak from my opinion, and I'm not saying that I'm super right, but if someone asks me those questions, these are the honest answers that I'm going to give them. I'd like to think I'm very honest and transparent, and these questions are very honest and very close to my heart and some of those, so definitely bear that in mind. And if you do want to have more detailed answers, then definitely do reach out to me. If you haven't already, then go ahead and subscribe and tap on the bell for notifications so you'll be amongst the first to know about the local market conditions here in Las Vegas. Also, while you're at it, please go ahead and like the video. That way you'll help the video go in front of more people who are looking at moving to Vegas and doing that research. And I see all the likes that my videos get. I don't know who is liking them. I can't thank you all individually, but I can thank you all collectively, because I definitely appreciate the likes, because it obviously hopefully means that you're getting value. So if you are getting value from these videos, then definitely do drop me a like, and I'll super appreciate it. And I'll buy you a drink or a coffee if you're ever in Vegas as a thank you. Also, I want to say thank you to everybody who's already reached out to me as well. I love all the conversations that we've had, and so many of you reached out to me now about moving and buying a home in Vegas and trusting me in the process. And it's a lot of trust. It's a lot of trust choosing a real estate agent anyway, but when you're doing it from out of state and doing a lot of it virtual, I definitely don't take that for granted. And it's something that I really treasure, is that trust, and the importance of that and the importance of the big move is never lost on me, and I'll do all I can to look after you guys, and I appreciate it all. If you are thinking of moving to Vegas or Henderson, then you can also please get in touch. You can give me a call, shoot me a text, send me an email, and we can also hop on a Zoom, and all those details are down below. If I sound like the type of realtor that you would love representing you, this is just me. This is just how I am. This is how I am in real life. Then definitely do please reach out. Until the next time though, guys, thank you for watching, and you take care.